Big goals on the horizon at the University of Arkansas. As part of its 150 Forward Strategic Plan, the university is doubling down on student success and research excellence, all while striving to be an employer of choice. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer was at an event today in Fort Smith, one of many stops the university is making around the state now to highlight those goals.
Reaching higher. It's a vision rooted in transformation. The University of Arkansas is setting bold goals to expand its impact across Arkansas and beyond. At an event Wednesday in Fort Smith, university leaders laid out the long-term goals and the work already underway to make it happen.
I want them to feel good about the university, come together, talk and share stories, but then leave here with a sense of mission, that we've got work to do.
University officials say the 150 Forward Strategic Plan is more than just numbers. It's a roadmap to building a stronger and more inclusive future for all Arkansans.
One of the plan's top goals, raising the university's 6-year graduation rate to 80%, a number that would mark a record high. To get there, Chancellor Charles Robinson says the university is investing in students through the Land of Opportunity Scholarship.
We're going to provide those students with gap funding that helps to make it possible for them to engage campus resources without having to work as much as they currently have to work now.
Research is another major focus of the plan.
We have the highest research expenditures in our history, $221 million. We're trying to get to $500 million.
And beyond academics, university leaders are focusing on making the U of A an employer of choice.
Having the support of our faculty and staff, giving them wages that are competitive with the market, services that help them feel that they have a sense of community.
In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Chancellor Robinson will be making stops across the state over the next year to promote the plan and engage with communities, showing that 150 Forward is not just a campus initiative, but a statewide effort. New tonight, 7 local families with children in public schools have filed a lawsuit against the state of Arkansas. It challenges a new law that requires all public elementary and secondary schools to prominently display the 10 Commandments in every classroom and library. The group is claiming it violates long-standing U.S. Supreme Court precedent and the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment. A bill Arkansas's governor just signed into law could mean CVS pharmacies will have to close doors in 2026. So CVS Health has filed a lawsuit claiming the law is unconstitutional. This is the 3rd lawsuit filed against the state over this issue. Pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs, help decide how much prescriptions cost. Well, the new law stops them from also selling you that medicine. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders says her goal is to lower copay costs for patients, but CVS claims its work as a PBM prevents Big Pharma from setting outrageous prices. The company tells us its drugs are affordable for Arkansas residents because they are the lowest cost provider in the state.
It's going to disrupt 340,000 patients that we service. It's actually going to cost several $1,000,000, we believe over 7, more in drug costs. Our specialty pharmacy won't be able to serve 10,000 of probably the most at-risk patients in the state.
If the law does go into effect next year, CVS says 23 pharmacies in the state could be forced to close. The Arkansas Board of Corrections discussing the escape of convicted murderer Grant Hardin during a meeting this week. The board voted in favor of an investigation into the escape and placed blame on prison workers. Hardin escaped in late May and was on the run for nearly 2 weeks. They eventually tracked him down about 1.5 miles away from the North Central Unit in Calico Rock. Search teams believed he was disguised as a corrections officer when he walked away from that facility. The investigation will look into what happened, how it happened, and what the state is doing to ensure it will not happen again. A curfew once again in effect tonight at quarter-mile section of downtown L.A. Today marked day 6 of protest over the White House's immigration policy. Danya Backus has the latest now from L.A., where federal officials announced charges against some of those protesters.
People gathered in downtown Los Angeles for a sixth day to protest the Trump administration's ramped-up immigration raids. A small area of downtown remains under a dusk-to-dawn curfew. Tuesday's demonstrations were largely peaceful. The LAPD says most of its arrests were for curfew violations and other charges. Today, the Justice Department announced the first federal charges in connection with the protest. 2 men are in custody, accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at law enforcement.
We're coming after all these people. Our community must be kept safe for peaceful protests and against thugs and criminals looking to start trouble.
President Trump has sent 4,000 National Guard troops to Los Angeles. 700 Marines are receiving special training before they're deployed to the city's streets.
Strictly for the protection of the federal personnel and the protection of the federal building, they're allowed to temporarily detain and wait for law enforcement to come and arrest them.
Mayor Karen Bass continues to denounce the military presence.
Maybe we are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor, power from a local jurisdiction, and frankly, leaving our city and our citizens, our residents, in fear.
At the same time, federal immigration raids continue.
Let me assure you, there is no sanctuary. Federal laws are applicable here, and they will be enforced.
Because of Trump's abuse of power, many families are going through their worst nightmares. I just want my dad to come home safe.
Family members say ICE took at least 6 workers at this car wash into custody. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, President Trump touting a trade deal with China. Representatives from both sides had been holding talks for the past couple of days. The president posted on social media today the trade deal is done, and the last steps are himself and China's president officially signing that agreement.
He spoke to his trade team, who did a fantastic job negotiating this on behalf of the United States and meeting with their Chinese counterparts. The president is talking to them about the details of it now, but what the president heard, he liked.
The president says the U.S. will keep a 55% tariff on Chinese imports, while China will keep a 10% tariff on American goods. China will then supply the U.S. with magnets and rare earth minerals, which are vital to a number of industries. Today at the Arkansas State Capitol, a group was pushing back against funding cuts in the president's budget bill. Reporter Rebecca Brown explains the message they're sending to Arkansas Senate delegation about the impact these cuts to Medicaid and food assistance programs could have.
One by one, the Arkansas Community Organization fills Senator John Boozman's office, ready to share personal stories tied to what they call the triple threat: Medicaid, SNAP, and housing.
Guys, I'm going to end up on the street dead. My son is not going to have a mother.
Norma Huffman relies on all three, and with President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill making headlines and Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders restricting some SNAP rules and pushing for Medicaid work requirements, Huffman says her future feels uncertain.
I cannot have this kind of stress on me because it's going to completely diminish my health to where I end up in the hospital. And if Medicaid gets cut, I'm not going to be able to stay in the hospital. I'm going to end up dying at home.
And Huffman isn't alone. Hattie Temple echoed a similar story.
I got 3 medicines that cost over $300 a month. I got one that's $1,500. I have to use it twice a week. I can't pay that. And my rent, I'm barely paying my utilities now. My utilities is so high.
The group made sure their voices were heard, taking their message upstairs, urging their senators to vote against the proposed changes.
Yes, we're here to speak to the senator.
Neither senator was there, but Senator Boozman's office did send a statement saying in part, quote, "Work requirements for able-bodied adults are a fair and effective way to ensure SNAP and Medicaid benefits are directed to those who truly need them."
If this bill passes, millions of people are going to suffer.
Rebecca Brown, 5 News.
Choctaw Nation leaders came together today in Tallahena to celebrate the opening of a new wellness center there. The 10,000 square foot facility features a half-court gym with workout areas that are open year-round for tribal residents. The project was built with funds from the American Rescue Plan Act.